Class 8th Science, Curiosity, Chapter 2. Question Answer. Keep the curiosity alive. 1. Various parts of a cell are given below. Write them in the appropriate places in the following diagram. Nucleus, cytoplasm, chloroplast, cell wall, cell membrane, nucleoid. Answer. Nucleus plant, animal. Cytoplasm plant, animal, bacteria. Chloroplast plants. Cell wall plant, cell, bacteria. Cell membrane plant, animal, bacteria. Nucleoid, bacteria. 2. Anandi took 2 test tubes and marked them A and B. She put 2 spoonfuls of sugar solution in each of the test tubes. In test tube B, she added a spoonful of yeast. Then she attached 2 incompletely inflated balloons to the mouth of each test tube. She kept the setup in a warm place, away from sunlight. What do you predict will happen after 3 to 4 hours? She observed that the balloon attached to test tube B was inflated. What can be a possible explanation for this? A. Water evaporated in test tube B and filled the balloon with the water vapor. B. The warm atmosphere expanded the air inside the test tube B, which inflated the balloon. C. Yeast produced a gas inside the test tube B00 which inflated the balloon. D. Sugar reacted with warm air, which produced gas, eventually inflating the balloon. Ans. C. Yeast in test tube B ferments the sugar solution and produces a gas, carbon dioxide, which inflates the balloon. Test tube A has no yeast, so no gas is produced. 2. She took another test tube, a quarter filled with lime water. She removed the balloon from test tube B in such a manner that the gas inside the balloon did not escape. She attached the balloon to the test tube with lime water and shook it well. What do you think she wants to find out? Answer. She wants to confirm the presence of carbon dioxide, (2) gas in the balloon. 3. A farmer was planting wheat crops in his field. He added nitrogen-rich fertilizer to the soil to get a good yield of crops. In the neighboring field, another farmer was growing bean crops, but she preferred not to add nitrogen fertilizer to get healthy crops. Can you think of the reasons? Answer. Wheat requires external nitrogen to thrive, while beans, which are leguminous plants, naturally fix atmospheric nitrogen through rhizobium bacteria in their root nodules. 4. Snehal dug 2 pits, A and B, in her garden. In pit A, she put fruit and vegetable peels and mixed it with dried leaves. In pit B, she dumped the same kind of waste without mixing it with dried leaves. She covered both the pits with soil and observed after 3 weeks. What is she trying to? Answer. Snehal is testing the effectiveness of composting and the role of dried leaves in the decomposition process. She wants to see how the balance affects the breakdown of waste into. 5. Identify the following microorganisms. I live in every kind of environment and inside your gut. Bacteria, these ubiquitous organisms inhabit all environments and 2. I make bread and cakes soft and fluffy. This is a single-celled fungus that ferments sugars and produces carbon dioxide gas, which causes dough to rise and makes baked goods fluffy. 3. I live in the roots of pulse crops and provide nutrients for their growth. Uns rhizobium, a nitrogen-fixing bacteria living in the root nodules of pulse crops. 6. Design an experiment to test that microorganisms need optimal temperature, air, and moisture for their growth. Answer: to test that microorganisms need optimal temperature, air, and moisture, you can set up a controlled experiment using slices of bread. 7. Take 2 slices of bread. Place one slice in a plate near the sink. Place the other slice in the refrigerator. Compare after 3 days. Note your observations. Give reasons for your observations. Answer: this simple experiment demonstrates how environmental factors like temperature and moisture affect food spoilage. After 3 days, you will notice that the slice near the sink develops fuzzy, colored mold, while the refrigerated slice stays fresh. 8. A student observes that when curd is left out for a day, it becomes more sour. What can be 2 possible explanations for this observation? Answer: when curd is left out for a day, it becomes more sour primarily due to the ongoing metabolic activity of lactic acid bacteria. 1. Increased production of lactic acid. Curd contains live, beneficial bacteria such as lactobacillus. When curd is left at room temperature, which is typically warmer than a refrigerator, these bacteria become highly active. They consume the remaining lactose, milk sugar, in the curd and ferment it into lactic acid. A higher concentration of lactic acid directly increases the acidity, making the curd taste much more sour. Though rapid bacterial population growth. Warm ambient temperatures provide the ideal environment for lactobacillus and other lactic acid bacteria to multiply at an exponential rate. As the bacterial population grows rapidly over the course of a day, the overall rate of fermentation accelerates. More bacteria fermenting lactose simultaneously means a faster, heavier accumulation of acid compared to when the curd is kept cold. 9. Observe the setup given in Fig. 2.15 and answer the following questions. I. What happens to the sugar solution in flask A? Answer: the sugar solution undergoes fermentation. The yeast consumes the sugar and converts it into alcohol and carbon dioxide gas. 2. What do you observe in test tube B after 4 hours? Why do you think this happened? Answer: observation: the lime water, calcium hydroxide solution in test tube B turns milky or cloudy. Reason: this occurs because the carbon dioxide gas produced in flask A travels through the delivery tube into test tube B. When the gas reacts with the lime water, it forms an insoluble white precipitate of calcium carbonate, turning the liquid milky. 3. What would happen if yeast was not added in flask A? Answer: if yeast is not added, fermentation will not occur. The sugar solution will remain completely unchanged, no carbon dioxide gas will be produced, and the lime water in test tube B will remain clear.